look forward to sharing a little bit about the Raw Carrot and what God has done in the amazing ministry that we've been working in over the past few years.
Should I share this? Is it ready?
Let's share the video.
We believe that a hand up is way more awesome than a handout. For 5 years, we sat in the pews at church and watched a teenage girl named Amanda grow up. Because of her disability, she was marginalized, living in poverty, and dependent on ongoing handouts. But we saw her potential. We saw someone who deserved the dignity of work. Amanda could thrive if given the right opportunity.
Do you know that there are almost 1 million people in Ontario alone like Amanda, living with a disability or mental illness? Many who want to and can work. That's why we decided to get out of the pew and do something. Over a cup of coffee, God ignited a passion in our hearts to give people the dignity of work in a simple but profound way, cooking gourmet soup. In 2014, the Raw Carrot was born.
I'm Rebecca. And I'm Colleen. And we are the co-founders of the Raw Carrot Soup Enterprise. Our model is simple. We use existing church kitchens, hire people on social assistance, and create tasty gourmet soup. In our first year, we hoped to sell $5,000 worth of soup. We sold $25,000 and quickly realized God had a bigger plan than we imagined. By 2016, other organizations had caught the vision and wanted to replicate. We now have 18 people employed at 3 sites. By growing together, we realized we would be stronger.
We have a big dream, a vision to see people employed and flourishing across Canada. We've employed 18 of the 1 million. We need you to help us bring the Raw Carrot to people in communities across Canada, to be change makers and innovators together. Can one bowl of soup help change the world?
You decide.
Thanks, Joshua. I really wanted to start with a quick video because it's just so amazing to see the staff working in the kitchen and the amazing talents that they come with when they come to work with us. What started as a germ of an idea 6 years ago has really grown and blossomed. When we did that video a little while ago, we had 18 staff. We now have 27 staff that are on the Ontario Disability Support Program. We really do believe that the passion for the idea to start the Raw Carrot came from our own gratitude and thankfulness that we've been given so much. Colleen and I are both church folk, and so the people that we kept coming in contact with over a period of time, including that girl named Amanda, were people that we just saw with so much potential, and they kept coming into church month after month, trying to access supports, whether or not that was the financial pieces for them or the social pieces, looking for a listening ear or, coming in for a community meal. But what they kept saying, or what we kept hearing, was that they really wanted a job and they wanted to be earning some income for themselves. And so to us, that was a real social justice issue, that although the ways of providing temporary supports and emergency and crisis funding were great and very necessary, we seemed to be missing that next step, that step up from being just on emergency supports to having something that's more permanent and people being able to provide income for themselves and their families without having to ask all the time and have others provide for them. And these people that became friends over a period of years really wanted to try and work. And so it really did start off as a mustard seed. We hear that so often in the Bible, with a small idea, and us being very much like Moses, I think, when God asked Moses to take on things that he wasn't necessarily so comfortable with. Felt like a big leap of faith to, we started the Raw Carrot sort of as a bit of a side hustle. We, both Colleen and I, took a leave of absence from our jobs for a year to see if we could start cooking soup and provide employment for people. The only reason that we can do this is because of our partnership with some amazing church congregations who have been so supportive and have offered us the donation of their commercial kitchen space to run their Raw Carrot. And so we you know, with that support, we took off and thought, let's just launch in. And I think one of the things that we talked about is where does God show up? And God shows up in all those little moments when you decide to take one step and he comes alongside with the other. It was so terrifying, I think, for us when we took our first, we had a pot of money. We had $2,500. That's all we had to get started. And we took that tiny pot of money and buying that first lot of cutting boards and kitchen utensils and all the things we needed to start this food ministry seemed terrifying. But, you know, we jumped out in faith, hoping that God would catch us. And he totally did. And that's when we were able to start our first kitchen. And so, you know, we ran with the first kitchen for a couple of years, and then we were able to jump into a pilot site. And then from there, 2 more sites employing the 27 individuals. And so it's been a real adventure. We just recently signed a contract with Sobey's in December of this past year. So again, just a long trajectory of starting in some boutique grocery stores, independent owners being really willing to try to give our soup a try, knowing that we're providing local jobs, makers markets and that type of thing. That was where we started sales initially. And then Sobey's came on board this in December and was willing to take us on so that we're able to sell raw carrot soup in 220 locations in Ontario. So we are not yet selling at 220 locations in Ontario, but the hope is that this soup will be distributed in many of those avenues. So when we're in a place to start a new site with a new church congregation, there will be sales avenues that are already existing and ready to get set up. So one of the things that I wanted to mention to anyone listening today too is a few of those milestones along the way. One of them was the EDGEy Foundation. So I guess this is our point of connection. We were one of the first groups to win the Social Innovation Challenge. And that step was super significant because it came about 2 years after we had just launched. So we were really small and we entered this, what felt like a dragon's den competition to us. We'd never been part of a pitch competition before, but we presented our idea and people were just so enthusiastic about what we were trying to do. And so that $10,000 that we won out of that competition enabled us to work with some amazing companies, EDGEy being one of them. But it also gave us the confidence, I think, that we needed to really launch into some of the next steps. And so that was a significant piece of the puzzle for us. And then I mentioned the church partnerships. We partner in with church congregations with a similar vision to provide a hand up, you know, not just a handout, but a hand up to people in need. And so we've partnered with both the United Presbyterian and Mennonite churches to start raw carrot sites. And so it's been really an amazing way to work ecumenically with a similar minded vision of providing that hand up to people in need. So I think that's sort of the arc of the story, and I'd be happy for any questions that come the way.